Hello, welcome to the Protocol Roundtable, a #1 flagship program of the Association of Certified Protocol Practitioners in Nigeria. A roundtable where we take a deep dive into contemporary issues as it concerns protocol practice and diplomacy in Nigeria. Join the roundtable as you get empowered, as you get educated. It's going to be very interesting and insightful. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Acppn Nigeria, and get updated. Thank you so much for joining us. Protocol is good. Protocol is great. Protocol unites. Protocol connects. Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from the world. Welcome to the Protocol Roundtable, the #1 online flagship program of the Association of Certified Protocol Practitioners in Nigeria. It's a body of protocol professionals from both the public and private sector geared towards the promotion and enhancement of protocol practice in Nigeria in particular and Africa in general. The roundtable is a place where we take a deep dive into contemporary issues on protocol and diplomacy practice as the borders of Nigeria and the continents of Africa. I want you to continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel for educating, empowering, and interesting insights on protocol. In today's edition, we have in the house a very notable personality, distinguished guests, professionals. We have in the house, our guest tonight is an Oxford University trained diplomat. He is a certified corporate etiquette and international protocol specialist of the Washington School of Protocol, and is also a certified public administrator. My guest has a very rich diplomatic career in all the tiers of government, including local government, states, and the federal government in Nigeria. My guest was appointed the Nigerian ambassador to Cuba with concurrent accreditation to the Bahamas, Nicaragua, Honduras by then President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. He has served at different levels in government. He started his working career as a clerical officer with the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing in the 80s. While as a core member, he also worked with the Yenagoa Local Government Council, giving him the experience at the local government level. He was employed as an administrative officer in the office of the Secretary to the Government and Head of Service, Governor's Office by Yelsa State. Was also posted to the Office of the Head of Service in 1999. In 1999, he started his protocol journey as a head of protocol to the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, who was our former president, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He was also the Chief of Protocol of Government House in 2005 to 2007. His move to the federal space started in 2008. Started in 2008 when he was appointed a protocol liaison officer to the then Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. That was between 2000 and 2010. Later on in 2011, he was appointed protocol liaison officer and special assistant to the President of Nigeria, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He was a two-time Consul General of Nigeria in New York. He was also Deputy Director and also Acting Director of the Asia and Pacific Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That was in 2017. And in 2001, he was appointed a career ambassador to Cuba, like as I said, with concurrent accreditation to the Bahamas, Nicaragua, Honduras. And that assignment was between 2021 to 2023. And in 2023, he was Director, African Affairs Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He was also Permanent Secretary and Director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as the most senior director as then in the ministry. He was later appointed the Chief of Protocol, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, from 2024 to 2005. Our guests are successfully retired from the federal service with numerous achievements to his credit. Distinguished professional colleague, it is my honor and privilege to present to you a seasoned diplomat, a protocol professional, a teacher, a mentor to so many of us, His Excellency Ambassador Bonaya Okoye, who is our guest today on the Protocol Roundtable. Your Excellency, you are welcome.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Let me especially recognize and thank Michael Acppn, the president and the members of the Association of Certified Protocol Practitioners of Nigeria, particularly my dear friend and brother and a colleague in the protocol profession, Director of Learning and Development of Acppn, Mr. Julius L. Yanayo, who had worked closely with me in the past. Let me also welcome and thank the participants of this protocol roundtable today. In particular, recognition to the current Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He told me he's going to join this program. I don't know whether he's already on the platform. Ambassador Akande Wahab Adekola. He's the current Chief of Protocol of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the immediate past Consul General of Nigeria in Frankfurt. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by thanking the organizers of this event for inviting me to present this lecture on this roundtable on the role of the Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the State Chief of Protocol in the Villa. It is my pleasure to be part of this process of developing the career in this noble profession. And it is important for us as practitioners to be abreast with the rudiments of this profession. Protocol is everything to me because I've been there all through my life. What made me a career diploma successful is through my experiences in the practice of protocol, particularly diplomatic protocol. Today, I am asked to dwell on this topic, and I will speak very briefly and give ample opportunity for questions for us to interact. The role of the Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and that of the State Chief of Protocol is very important to smoothen diplomatic interactions and maintain our country's international image. While the Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs oversees the protocol department of the ministry, he is also seen as the #1 protocol officer of the Federation, who ensures smooth diplomatic interactions by managing accreditations of diplomats to the country and to other missions from Nigeria, official visits, international conferences, audiences, and privileges and immunities of the diplomatic community. While the State Chief of Protocol, an appointee from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a career diplomat by Mr. President on the recommendation of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, is to play the role of managing and coordinating all protocol-related activities of Mr. President in the country along other presidential aides. The SCOP, which is the State Chief of Protocol, is the #1 representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the presidential villa in managing Mr. President's domestic and international engagements, working closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, other MDAs, and security agencies. The importance of both offices can be viewed from several key responsibilities they play, which I would like to touch on them briefly. So in this presentation, I would like to make an attempt to talk about the roles of these two offices, their similarities, and their differences. Their major roles of the Chief of Protocol of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I have been an occupier of this office. What I was saddled with was first to maintain official diplomatic channel of communication in Nigeria between our country, Nigeria, and every foreign mission. The communication that comes into the country and the one that go out to the missions is the Chief of Protocol that manages this interaction. No ambassador, no high commissioner, no consul general, no heads of international organizations are expected to interact directly with any agencies of government without passing through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So the Chief of Protocol oversees this role and ensure that every envoy obey this rule as an international rule for everyone. Number 2 role for the Chief of Protocol is accreditation of diplomats. No foreign mission or envoy, ambassador, high commissioner, consul general can just come into the country and work. But there is a process of accreditation, authenticating their stay in Nigeria, providing them what is required for them to function. That process is called the process of accreditation. In other words, they are identified, authorized to work in Nigeria. The Chief of Protocols and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs oversee this process, and there's a lot involved in this. We may not be able to tell you detail about all of this function today. The third aspect of the role of the Chief of Protocol of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is to oversee official visits, conferences, and audiences. Visits, conferences, and audiences are another very important aspect of the work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in maintaining our international relations. The Chief of Protocol is very key when it comes to hosting heads of states, heads of government from foreign land to our country. And when our own officials, including the level of the president, the vice president, others also visit other countries, it's the office of the Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that coordinates a lot of those arrangements to ensure that these visits are successful. A few examples I can give was a recent visit of the Prime Minister of India to Nigeria. The preparations begins, implementations, and the end of it is revolving around the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Chief of Protocol is a key player to this assignment. The other aspect is conferences and audiences. There are a lot of international conferences, audiences that takes place in this country. Once that happens, because it involves international organizations, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is involved, and is the office of the Chief of Protocol that oversees most aspects, particularly the aspect of protocol in these assignments. The third aspect of this function is also audiences. The Chief of Protocol Office coordinates requests for audiences by foreign missions. For example, if a foreign or if an ambassador, head of mission, head of trade delegation want to meet, for example, the governor of a state, it's the duty of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to facilitate those audiences for all who are interested in seeking those audiences. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also make requests on behalf of government officials who want to have interaction with the embassies, the high commissions, the consulates, the diplomatic community. The other aspect, which is a very important key for role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from the Department of the Protocol, is privileges and immunities. The Chief of Protocol presides and executes everything that has to do with privileges and immunities. As practitioners of protocol, you should be acquainted with privileges, immunities. The immunity is to allow, privileges and immunities will allow occupiers of diplomatic offices to work freely in our country and any other country in that matter. This is being provided in the Vienna Convention. This is to ensure that their stay is recognized, they are representative of their country and their president, and they are not to be disturbed within the internal workings of our country. So laws that specify or permit them to do their work must not be hindered. So there are a whole lot of things that we do in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to provide privileges. For example, providing plate numbers. You provide duty-free import for them. You provide ensuring that they are secured diplomatically, provide security for them. Sometimes we resolve some dispute. For example, maybe an embassy is giving a contract to a Nigerian contractor, and in terms of settlement, and they have issues. Taking them to court will not solve the problem for you because they are immune, by the privileges and immunities of their office. So the best approach will be to resolve those matters within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is part of the things we also do. The last aspect of the role of the Chief of Protocol of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is to provide liaison between the diplomatic community with departments in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and all government institutions in Nigeria. Like I mentioned earlier in the first role, that the ministry maintains the channel of communication between the diplomatic community and government officials in Nigeria. So in providing these liaison services, every issue that has to do with their functionality and their stay in Nigeria has to be presided over by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs through the Department of Protocol, who the Chief of Protocol presides. Chief of Protocol coordinates the members of the diplomatic corps in Nigeria by maintaining an effective channel of communication, as I said earlier, as well as handling accreditation, official visits, conferences, audiences, and diplomatic privileges and immunities. This is done to ensure smooth international engagements, strengthen bilateral and multilateral relations, and uphold the country's international reputation and image. Let me go to the roles of the State Chief of Protocol in Nigeria. As you may also be aware, the role of the State Chief of Protocol to Nigeria is a very important role. Like I mentioned earlier, is an appointee of the President from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the recommendation of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. So the SCOP executes both the domestic and the international daily official engagements of Mr. President. He also performs national ceremonial and protocol duties involving the President. Presidential ceremonies and events are also in the purview of the SCOP. He plans, he coordinates, he handles liaison duties with agencies of government to ensure that presidential programs are successful. The diplomatic engagements are also being handled by SCOP in liaison with the Chief of Protocol. The SCOP also handles accreditation, credential presentation. Every envoy, every ambassador that comes into Nigeria is expected to present his credentials to Mr. President. SCOP organizes that ceremony, while the Chief of Protocol and Minister of Foreign Affairs prepare the ambassador for this ceremony. State visits, international conferences, all of these issues are also being handled by SCOP when it concerns Mr. President. He also provides advice on general protocol matters, particularly providing guidance and policy development on protocol issues around the villa and the presidency. The SCOP also oversees administrative oversight of coordination of Mr. President events and programs. He maintains a team lead of all the presidential aides in terms of executing the programs of Mr. President. Finally, the SCOP also maintain liaison with ministries and other agencies of government to ensure that Mr. President programs are handled successfully. What are some of the similarities I earlier mentioned of the Office of the Chief of Protocol and SCOP? In terms of diplomatic accreditation, as I mentioned, both officials handle accreditation of foreign diplomats and officials, while the Chief of Protocol ensure that the ambassadors and foreign diplomats are well prepared, accredited, and properly introduced to the country. SCOP manages the presentation ceremony by foreign diplomats to the president in the villa. Number two, management of official visits. Both coordinate state visits by foreign dignitaries and high-ranking officials. The Chief of Protocol organizes visits involving the minister and foreign delegations, particularly when it involves Mr. President. While SCOP manages visits at the presidential level, including meetings with the president and visiting heads of state. In terms of international conferences that involves Mr. President, the SCOP is also involved. While general international conference, whether it is involving the president or not, the Chief of Protocol is involved, particularly in providing protocol services. In terms of advisory on giving advice on protocol, diplomatic protocol, the Chief of Protocol advises the Minister of Foreign Affairs and government officials on diplomatic procedures, including the diplomatic community, while the SCOP advises the President and senior aides on state ceremonies, diplomatic meetings, and official engagements involving Mr. President. The next is similarities handling diplomatic privileges and immunities. SCOP and the Chief of Protocol work hand in hand as practitioners of protocol and foreign career officers of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs preside over and ensure that privileges, courtesies that need to be given to visiting heads of states and all are done successfully. Coordination with security and government agencies. A typical example, like I gave, a visiting prime minister from India, for example, needed to be given security protection, and it is a duty of these both offices to coordinate with the agencies of government, particularly security agencies, embassies, and government departments to ensure safety of visiting dignitaries and heads of states during international visits. Finally, oversight of state and national ceremonies. Both Chief of Protocol of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the State Chief of Protocol in the villa plan, execute major and national and state events involving foreign dignitaries and involving Mr. President. It is important to note that both the Chief of Protocol and SCOP work together at the highest level of governance in Nigeria when foreign missions or foreign dignitaries are involved in state events with Mr. President. While the Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs deals with the broader range of diplomatic interaction, including relationship with embassies, high commissions, consulates, and international organizations for the entire country. The state chief of protocol operates within the presidency, focusing on managing both the domestic and international high-level engagements involving the President of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important also to note that these two offices in some countries are meshed together. Sometimes it is residing in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for example, in Cuba, where I serve as an ambassador. The chief of protocol is also doubling as the number one protocol officer of the president, and he handled everything that has to do with protocol in that country. Other countries are also adopting similar practice, but in Nigeria, these two offices are separate. Thank you once again for this opportunity, and I'm open to answer your questions so that I can make this presentation more meaningful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency, for that amazing insight into the world of protocol in Nigeria as it concerns the office of the personage of the Chief of Protocol, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the State Chief of Protocol at the Presidential Villa. Thank you so much. We're happy that you've done justice to this topic. Our practitioners will learn from it, try to distinguish who does need to know these things. And that is the essence of the roundtable, where we take a deep dive. Okay, thank you so much. Please, let's have questions. If you have very exciting, meaningful questions, the ambassador is ready to take your questions. Ambassador is ready to take your questions. Minaba, you can ask your questions, please. Okay, just put down your questions and ambassador will take them. Everyone is not on Zoom, so sorry you can't speak, but you can write down your questions for us to transmit to our guest speaker. Okay, Muhammad Nasser is asking, Your Excellency, is there any academic school of protocol in Nigeria? Is there any academic school of protocol in Nigeria? You can just quickly take that, Your Excellency.
Yeah, I should be taking that question back to your body. Should be able to know, if there are academic institutions. Quite a few are coming up. I know I've delivered lecture in some, and but issue about legitimacy in terms of accreditation and all that, I'm not quite sure yet. So, but it's still an evolving field. So we'll encourage as many who will want to be on this profession to go into all of that. But quite a few, I can't remember them, but I've given lecture in some of them. Like what you are doing now is also a very good way of channeling people attention to the practice of protocol in terms of training and mentorship.
Okay, I guess we're done. More questions? I think they lost us at a point. Sound was not coming in. Somebody said, Atima Gabriel, say, congratulations, Ambassador, great presentation. You're always great. Okay, the next question is, in what ways do protocol officers ensure cultural sensitivity when hosting foreign dignitaries from diverse backgrounds? In what ways do protocol officers ensure cultural sensitivity when hosting foreign dignitaries from diverse background? You can take that if you heard me clearly.
Okay. Do you have more questions? So I'll take all of them now. Well, hosting a foreign dignitary is something that is very, very sensitive, and that's why you have
Okay,
foreign missions.
do you have more questions? More questions, keep them coming. Ambassador has noted them so that we can take all of them at once. Bebe from Ethiopia is asking, which practice do you propose? The doubling rule or distinguishing both? That means separating them or fusing them together. Which do you propose? That's from Abebe Mulu from Ethiopia. Minaba is asking, seeing how you grew in ranks and where you are now, what is the role these offices have to play in raising a new crop of protocol professionals, especially the young ones? I think it's very key, is asking how new crop of protocol professionals can be raised, particularly young people uh, in the profession, seeing the way you grew in your protocol practice. That's from Minabai Seibofa. Seibofa, CEO of Shieldfield Protocol Consulting Limited. Then from Muhammad Nasser, sir, if I understand you, subdignitaries come to Nigeria sometime, go direct to see Mr. President or Mr. Vice President without the notification of the Director Protocol of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I think what he's asking, if dignitaries can come to Nigeria and then go straight to the villa. Atima Gabai. Yes, I understand we cannot do without protocol in all government offices. Why is protocol not found in the organogram of ministries and most MDAs? That why is protocol not found in your organogram of ministries and MDAs in Nigeria? Atima Gabai is asking. The next question is, how have protocol practices in Nigeria evolved in response to global diplomatic trends and technological advancements? I think we'll stop there so far and allow Ambassador to take the to respond to this question. Ambassador, I think we are good to go.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so if let me take if I can understand. First question was on cultural sensitivity.
Yes.
Cultural sensitivity and yes, sensitivity. So it is important for, that's why you have embassies, high commissions, foreign missions representing their country. So if for any reason any high government official is to visit, that is where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will come in and do all the preparatory work and knowing what is required. For example, if a visiting foreign dignitary is allergic to certain food, you'll be able to know. If a visiting foreign dignitary don't like maybe a certain practice in Nigeria, and we are to maybe perform an entertainment for such dignitary, we need to avoid it in order not to offend our guests. Because when you are inviting somebody to your country, you need to, you need to be seen as a friend. So you are not at war. So the best is to do what will please the guests. So in doing so is to find out early enough through their embassies, through their representative, or whoever it is the contact for this visit to ask some questions in terms of what they likes and the dislikes, and also relating to culture and the sensitivities of the issues we're talking about. So this is where the office of the chief of protocol is very important in terms of doing all those preparatory works before a visiting delegation arrive the country. Second issue would be somebody from Ethiopia asking which of the two practices will I propose, either the chief of protocol and the state chief of protocol combining that assignment, and the way it is in Nigeria, like the chief of protocol in Ministry of Foreign Affairs would do the protocol bits of the ministry, overseeing the international relations regarding the protocol issues for the country, or the SCOP, managing Mr. President's events, whether in domestic affair or in international affair. For me, these two offices are very, very busy offices. The way it is in Nigeria, I think will be the best for me. Because if Nigeria, in a country like Nigeria that is heavily populated and a lot of high demand in terms of engagement, it will be the best for what it is now to be maintained, so that these officers who are occupying these offices should also have some family time for themselves. The other aspect, I will, there's somebody asking about mentorship in terms of how the crop of officers, protocol officers could be mentored from my own experience and all that. I think it's not even about training alone. It's about practice, practice, practice. And for institutions to also be willing to follow protocol rules, follow protocol practice, recognition of what is being done in terms of what we are talking about. In that way, the consciousness for protocol practice will continue to now evolve, and the need to have the qualified officers occupying those positions will continue to be flat everywhere, every now and then. So, but we must always put training number one. Training. There are a lot of things are evolving. A lot of things are happening. There are a lot of new ways of doing, the protocol work. Very important. For example, a lot of protocol practitioners in Nigeria, for example, may not know anything about diplomatic protocol. Just like what I've told you about the role of the chief of protocol, for example, it may be very new to so many people. But it could be a chief of protocol, a director of protocol of a governor. You may not know anything about diplomatic protocol except for coming to apply for visa and all of those kind of issues. If your governor is to travel to Ethiopia, for example, it is your duty to relate to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ministry of Foreign Affairs to relate to our mission in Ethiopia, to inform them of your visit. If it is official, make arrangement for you. These are things that we need to know. So training, exposing them to all of the awareness and what they need to know will help a great deal. Then somebody asked, is it proper for a dignitary to just come straight from the airport and move to the villa and see Mr. President without the knowledge of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? The answer is no. No dignitary, no government official, no high government official without proper arrangements can see the president. The president is not just anyhow person. He need to be prepared ahead of time in terms of who sees him, what benefit, for what purpose. Is it safe? Is it? Several questions must be asked around the visiting personality to the president. So many issues, security issue, protocol issues, a lot is there. So it is important for us to talk about interest, talk about the benefit of the visit. So it's not something somebody just wake up and come and visit a president. So these things are properly planned. It depends on the type of visit. Ministry of Foreign Affairs is having the responsibility to oversee every foreign visit coming in and out of this country. The other question was a question about why are we not finding protocol profession in the organogram of MDAs and all that. Recently, I organized service-wide protocol training in the country with the Office of the Head of Service. And this was part of the recommendation from our reports at the end of that training, for protocol practice to be recognized as a career. So I think those reports are before the Head of Service of the Federation. So these are part of the things that are concerned to so many people. And with time, we believe it will be handled. Finally, we're talking about how protocol practice will be made to be evolving in the era of technology. That's why awareness. We need to be aware of the environment we are. Things are done differently. What you know yesterday is not the same today. So this is why we must continue to, learn. Continue to learn. That process must continue to, be kept open. So now we are presenting a protocol roundtable just on the internet. Other time we'll be traveling up and down. So there are so many ways these things can be done. So we need to be aware of environment, what is happening elsewhere, so to allow the international best practices in our profession. Thank you once again for the opportunity to address some of these questions and allowing me in this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for making justice to those questions. This is why we have the roundtable, so that we can have conversations like this. Your feedback will be very, very important so that we can improve. We hope to do it on a monthly basis. We'll bring experts. So thank you so much for joining this edition of the protocol. Next month, hopefully by the grace of God, keep tuning in, keep subscribing to Acppn. You can also visit working towards certifications, categorization and grading of members. It's going to happen someday. Like Ambassador has told us, recommendations have been made to the government to institutionalize protocol practice. So we hope that that day will come and all of us will stand to benefit from it. So I want to thank you so much for joining. I leave you with these final words. Diplomacy, they say, connects. Protocol unites. And a world of civility is realized. Protocol is great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ambassador, for availing us your time for this amazing session. I hope that next time you still do us the service, because you're an asset in this country as far as protocol is concerned. I'm happy to have been under your tutelage. Happy to have learned from you as my boss, as when you were Chief of Protocol, Government House, Yenagua. I'm always proud of you, and I'll continue to be proud of you. Enjoy your retirement. Thank you so much, and goodbye to all our viewers and listeners. Thank you so much, and see you next month. Thank you.